Hello, beautiful soul. I feel your presence here today, and I want you to know that you are exactly where you need to be. Right now, in this moment, you may be carrying some heaviness around money. Perhaps there's a knot in your stomach when bills arrive, or maybe you lie awake at night wondering how you'll ever create the life you truly desire. Those feelings are so valid, and I honor every single worry, every dream deferred, every moment you've wondered if financial freedom is really possible for someone like you. There's something I want you to understand right from the start. Your relationship with money isn't separate from your relationship with yourself. When we struggle financially, we're often struggling with feelings of worth, with old stories about what we deserve, with fears that have been passed down through generations like family heirlooms we never asked to inherit. But here's the beautiful truth that I've witnessed over and over again in my years of working with people just like you. These patterns can be changed. Your financial reality can transform, and it begins with the gentle, loving work we're going to do together. The energy you bring to this conversation matters more than any strategy or technique I could ever share with you. When you approach money with fear, with desperation, with the energy of not enough, you create more of that same experience. But when you begin to shift your inner conversation, when you start to believe that abundance is your natural state, everything changes. The universe responds to the energy you put out, and money is simply energy in physical form. I've seen people transform their financial lives in the most beautiful ways, not through force or struggle, but through love and gentle persistence. They didn't have special education or connections. They weren't born into wealthy families or given secret formulas. They simply learned to change their relationship with money from the inside out. They learned to love themselves enough to believe they deserved abundance, and then they took inspired action from that place of worthiness. Today, we're going to walk this path together. We'll explore the stories that have been running your financial life. We'll heal the old wounds that keep you stuck, and we'll plant new seeds of prosperity consciousness that will bloom in ways that might surprise you. This isn't about getting rich quick or manipulating the universe into giving you what you want. This is about aligning with the natural flow of abundance that is always available to you, always waiting for you to open your heart and receive it. The stories I'm going to share with you aren't about famous people or overnight millionaires. They're about ordinary human beings who discovered something extraordinary within themselves. There was a woman who worked as a cashier at a grocery store for 15 years. Every day she watched people buy things she couldn't afford, and every night she went home to a tiny apartment where she counted pennies to make ends meet. She had convinced herself that this was simply her lot in life, that some people were meant to struggle while others were meant to prosper. One day, she began to notice how harshly she spoke to herself about money. Every time she paid a bill, she would sigh and think, "There goes more money I can't afford to lose." When she saw beautiful things in stores, she would tell herself, "People like me don't deserve nice things." She realized that her mind had become a running commentary of lack and limitation, and she wondered what might happen if she changed that internal conversation. She started small, so small that it felt almost silly. Instead of sighing when she paid bills, she began to say, "Thank you for this service." Instead of walking past beautiful things with resentment, she started to appreciate them and say, "How wonderful that such beauty exists in the world." She didn't believe these new thoughts at first, but she was gentle with herself and kept practicing. Within 6 months, something shifted. A customer at the grocery store mentioned that her company was looking for someone with her exact skills. Within a year, she had doubled her income. Within 3 years, she had saved enough money to buy her first home. The external changes seemed miraculous, but the real miracle was the transformation that happened within her mind and heart. Then there was a man who had inherited his father's business, along with his father's beliefs that money was hard to come by and that you had to work yourself to the bone to earn every penny. For 20 years, he ran that business into the ground, working 18-hour days and watching his bank account drain lower and lower. He was so exhausted and discouraged that he was ready to close the doors forever. In his darkest moment, he realized that he had been running his father's business with his father's fears. He had never questioned whether those beliefs about money were actually true. He began to wonder what might be possible if he approached his work from a place of joy instead of struggle, if he trusted that the universe wanted to support his success rather than constantly testing his endurance. He started to change small things about how he worked. He began each day with gratitude for the opportunity to serve his customers. He stopped working from a place of panic and started making decisions from a place of calm confidence. He raised his prices to reflect the true value of his services, even though his father's voice in his head told him that no one would pay those rates. The transformation was remarkable. Customers began to appreciate the calmer energy he brought to his work. His higher prices attracted clients who valued quality over bargain hunting. Within 2 years, he had tripled his income while working half the hours. The business that had been draining him became a source of joy and prosperity. These stories aren't unique or special. They represent a universal truth about how abundance works. When we change our inner relationship with money, our outer circumstances begin to shift. When we stop believing that we have to struggle for every penny, the struggle begins to ease. When we start treating money as a friend rather than an enemy, it begins to flow more freely into our lives. The key isn't to force or manipulate or demand that the universe give you what you want. The key is to become the kind of person who naturally attracts abundance, who expects good things to happen, who believes deeply that prosperity is possible. This isn't about positive thinking or pretending that challenges don't exist. This is about changing the fundamental energy you bring to your relationship with money. Many people resist this idea because they've been taught that money is hard to come by, that you have to sacrifice your values to be wealthy, that good people don't care about money. These beliefs feel so true because they've been reinforced over and over again through our culture, our families, our own experiences. But beliefs are just thoughts we've been thinking for a long time. They're not permanent fixtures of reality. They can be examined, questioned, and gently released when they no longer serve us. The beautiful thing about money is that it's completely neutral. It has no inherent moral value. It's not good or bad, spiritual or unspiritual. It's simply a tool for exchange, a way of participating in the flow of giving and receiving that makes our world function. When we attach shame or fear or guilt to money, we create resistance that blocks the natural flow of abundance. When we can approach money with the same neutrality we bring to breathing or eating, we open ourselves to receive it with ease. This journey we're taking together isn't just about creating more money in your bank account, although that may certainly happen. It's about healing your relationship with your own worthiness, with your own power, with your own ability to create the life you truly desire. It's about recognizing that you are already enough, already deserving, already connected to an infinite source of abundance that is always available to you. Your money story didn't begin when you got your first job or opened your first bank account. It began in childhood, in the countless small moments when you absorbed messages about money, about worth, about what kinds of people deserve to prosper. Maybe you heard your parents argue about bills late at night, and you learned that money causes stress and conflict. Maybe you watched your family struggle despite working hard, and you concluded that financial security is impossible to achieve. Maybe you were taught that wanting money is selfish, or that wealthy people are somehow morally corrupt. These early messages became the foundation of your money story, the unconscious beliefs that have been running your financial life ever since. The child in you absorbed these lessons so completely that they feel like absolute truth rather than simply one family's way of relating to money. That little one inside you is still trying to keep you safe by following the rules about money that seemed to make sense in your childhood home, even when those rules no longer serve your adult dreams. The beautiful thing about understanding this is that you can begin to separate what's actually true from what you learned to believe was true. You can start to see that the financial struggles in your family weren't caused by some cosmic rule that decreed your lineage would always struggle with money. They were caused by the beliefs and patterns that were passed down from generation to generation, and those patterns can be interrupted with love and consciousness. Perhaps your grandmother lived through the Great Depression and learned to hoard every penny out of fear that abundance was temporary and could disappear at any moment. Perhaps your parents worked in jobs they hated because they believed that work was supposed to be a struggle and that following your passion was a luxury they couldn't afford. Perhaps you absorbed the message that there's never enough money to go around, that wanting more than the bare basics is greedy, that financial success requires sacrificing your integrity or your relationships. These beliefs made sense in the context where they were formed, but they may be holding you back from the prosperity that is trying to flow into your life right now. The unconscious part of you that still operates from these old beliefs will sabotage your efforts to create wealth because it genuinely believes that doing so would be dangerous or wrong. This is why willpower and positive thinking alone aren't enough to transform your financial reality. You have to heal the emotional roots of your money patterns. The process of healing your money story begins with compassion for the part of you that learned to be afraid of financial success. That fear isn't irrational or foolish. It developed as a way of protecting you from what seemed like real dangers in your childhood environment. But now you're an adult with the capacity to create safety for yourself in ways that weren't available to you as a child. You can learn to hold both the wisdom of caution and the openness to abundance. This healing doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't require you to completely abandon all the practical skills you learned about managing money responsibly. It simply asks you to question whether the emotional charge around money is helping or hindering your ability to create the life you want. When you can pay bills from a place of gratitude rather than resentment, when you can save money from a place of excitement rather than fear, when you can invest in your dreams from a place of trust rather than anxiety, everything shifts. The stories that shaped your relationship with money also shaped your relationship with your own worthiness. If you learned that money is hard to come by, you probably also learned that you have to prove your value through struggle and sacrifice. If you learned that wealthy people are selfish or corrupt, you probably also learned that claiming your own desires is somehow wrong. If you learned that there's never enough to go around, you probably also learned that taking care of your own needs means depriving others of what they need. These beliefs create an internal conflict that makes it almost impossible to attract lasting abundance. Part of you wants financial freedom, while another part of you believes that achieving it would make you a bad person. Part of you dreams of prosperity, while another part of you feels guilty for wanting more than you currently have. This internal split creates the kind of mixed energy that confuses the universe and blocks the flow of what you're trying to create. The healing comes when you begin to understand that your desires for abundance aren't separate from your love for others. When you thrive financially, you have more capacity to give, to serve, to contribute to causes you care about. When you take care of your own needs, you model self-love for everyone around you. When you claim your worthiness to receive abundance, you give others permission to do the same. Your mind is the most powerful tool you have for creating wealth, and yet most people use it in ways that actually repel money rather than attract it. Every thought you think, every feeling you feel about money is sending out an energetic signal that the universe responds to with mathematical precision. When you understand this connection between your inner world and your outer financial reality, you begin to see why some people seem to effortlessly attract abundance while others struggle despite working incredibly hard. The energy of money is responsive to the energy you bring to it. When you think about money with stress, anxiety, or desperation, you're actually pushing it away. When you approach money with ease, gratitude, and trust, you create a magnetic field that draws it toward you. This isn't mystical thinking. It's observable in how differently people experience money based on their internal state. Two people can have the exact same financial circumstances, but one feels abundant while the other feels poor, and that difference in feeling creates very different outcomes over time. Your thoughts about money are constantly creating your financial reality, whether you're conscious of this process or not. When you wake up in the morning worried about bills, you're programming your mind to look for evidence of lack throughout the day. When you see something you want but immediately think, "I can't afford that," you're reinforcing the belief that abundance isn't available to you. When you pay bills with resentment or fear, you're associating money with negative emotions that create resistance to receiving more. But here's the beautiful part. You can consciously choose to change these patterns. You can train your mind to think about money in ways that support abundance rather than scarcity. You can learn to feel wealthy before the money shows up in your bank account, and that feeling of wealth will begin to attract the circumstances that match it. This isn't about pretending you have money you don't have or making irresponsible financial decisions. It's about cultivating the internal experience of abundance that allows money to flow more freely into your life. The feeling of abundance isn't dependent on having a certain amount of money in the bank. Abundance is a state of consciousness, a way of perceiving and interacting with the world that recognizes there is always enough. When you can feel abundant while paying your bills, while shopping for groceries, while making financial decisions, you're operating from the energy that creates more abundance. When you can appreciate what you have while remaining open to more, you're in the flow that allows money to circulate through your life with ease. This energy of abundance has nothing to do with being irresponsible or unrealistic about money. You can be practical and grounded while still maintaining an abundant mindset. You can budget wisely while feeling wealthy. You can make careful financial decisions while trusting that more money is always flowing toward you. The key is to hold both the practical and the spiritual aspects of money in balance, allowing them to support each other rather than creating conflict. When you force things to happen with money, when you operate from desperation or try to manipulate outcomes, you actually block the natural flow of abundance. The universe responds to ease and trust, not to pushing and struggling. When you can set clear intentions for what you want to create financially and then take inspired action from a place of calm confidence, you align yourself with the natural laws that govern prosperity. So many people exhaust themselves trying to force money to come into their lives. They work harder and harder, but they're working from an energy of fear and lack that actually repels what they're trying to create. They chase opportunities frantically, but their desperation makes them miss the subtle signs and synchronicities that would lead them to true abundance. They focus so intensely on what they don't have that they miss the gifts that are already present in their lives. The universe operates on the principle of allowing rather than forcing. When you can hold your financial desires lightly, with trust rather than attachment, you create space for money to flow to you in ways you might never have expected. When you can take practical steps toward your goals while remaining open to possibilities you haven't thought of, you invite the kind of abundance that feels like grace rather than struggle. Creating internal harmony with wealth means healing the parts of you that have mixed feelings about money. Most people have an internal conflict about abundance. Part of them wants it, while another part fears it or judges it. This creates a push-pull energy that confuses the universe and blocks the flow of prosperity. When you can align all parts of yourself around the desire for abundance, when you can want money for positive reasons and trust yourself to use it wisely, you eliminate the internal resistance that has been sabotaging your efforts. Now let's gently explore the beliefs that may be holding you back from the abundance you desire. These limiting beliefs often feel so true that we don't even recognize them as beliefs. They feel like facts about how the world works. But every belief is simply a thought you've been thinking for so long that it feels permanent. The beautiful thing about beliefs is that they can be examined, questioned, and lovingly released when they no longer serve your highest good. Some of the most common limiting beliefs about money include the idea that there's not enough to go around, that you have to work hard for every penny, that money corrupts people, or that wanting wealth is somehow spiritual or selfish. You might believe that your family has always struggled financially, so you're destined to struggle too, or that you don't have the right education or connections to create wealth, or that making money requires sacrificing your values or your integrity. These beliefs were formed through your experiences, through the messages you received growing up, through the stories our culture tells about money and worth. They made sense at the time you learned them, and they may have even served to protect you in some way. But now they're keeping you stuck in patterns that no longer serve your dreams. The process of releasing these beliefs isn't about judging them or forcing them away. It's about gently questioning whether they're actually true and whether they're helping you create the life you want. One of the most powerful ways to identify your limiting beliefs is to notice the thoughts that automatically arise when you think about having more money. Do you immediately think of reasons why it's not possible? Do you feel guilty or anxious about wanting abundance? Do you worry about how having money might change you or your relationships? These automatic responses reveal the beliefs that are running beneath the surface of your conscious awareness. The process of releasing limiting beliefs begins with compassion for the part of you that developed these protective patterns. That scared or cautious part of you isn't wrong for being careful about money. It learned to be afraid based on real experiences. But now you can offer that part of yourself a new perspective, a safer way of relating to money that honors both caution and possibility. Guilt and shame around money are some of the most powerful blocks to abundance, and they often operate completely beneath conscious awareness. You might feel guilty for wanting more than you have, ashamed of past financial mistakes, or conflicted about the idea of having money when others are struggling. These feelings create an energetic resistance that makes it almost impossible to receive abundance, even when opportunities are right in front of you. The healing of guilt and shame around money often requires forgiveness. Forgiveness of yourself for past financial decisions, forgiveness of others who may have hurt you around money, and forgiveness of the circumstances that created your current financial situation. This forgiveness isn't about condoning harmful behavior or pretending that painful experiences didn't happen. It's about freeing yourself from the energetic charge that keeps you stuck in patterns of lack and limitation. When you carry guilt about wanting money, you're essentially telling the universe that you don't deserve abundance. When you feel ashamed of your financial desires, you're blocking the flow of prosperity into your life. When you hold on to resentment about past financial experiences, you're keeping yourself energetically tied to those old patterns. Forgiveness is the key that unlocks the door to a new financial reality. This forgiveness work often needs to include forgiving yourself for the financial choices you've made in the past. Maybe you made investments that didn't work out, or spent money on things that weren't important, or missed opportunities that seemed obvious in hindsight. That part of you that made those decisions was doing the best it could with the awareness and resources available at the time. Beating yourself up for past choices only creates more of the fearful energy that leads to poor financial decisions in the future. Forgiving others who have influenced your relationship with money can be equally important. Maybe someone in your family taught you that money was evil or dangerous. Maybe an employer took advantage of your generous nature. Maybe someone you trusted made financial decisions that affected you negatively. Holding on to anger or resentment toward these people keeps you energetically connected to the pain they caused, which perpetuates the very patterns you're trying to heal. The forgiveness process isn't about letting people off the hook for harmful behavior or pretending that hurtful experiences were actually beneficial. It's about setting yourself free from the emotional charge that keeps you trapped in old patterns. When you can release the anger, hurt, and resentment you've been carrying, you create space for new experiences of abundance to enter your life. Creating space for new abundance patterns requires clearing out the mental and emotional clutter that has been blocking your prosperity. This means releasing not just the obvious negative beliefs about money, but also the subtle ways you've been unconsciously pushing abundance away. It means becoming aware of how you speak about money, how you feel when you pay bills, how you react to other people's financial success. As you create this space, you begin to notice opportunities that were always there, but that you couldn't see through the filter of your old beliefs. You start to attract people and circumstances that support your abundance rather than reinforcing your limitations. You find yourself making different choices, taking different actions, and getting different results. The external changes seem to happen naturally as a result of the internal transformation. Now let's explore how to build a strong foundation for lasting abundance by developing daily practices that keep you aligned with prosperity consciousness. These aren't complicated rituals or time-consuming exercises. They're simple, gentle practices that help you maintain the energy of abundance throughout your day. The key is consistency rather than perfection. Even a few minutes of conscious attention to your relationship with money can create profound shifts over time. Your morning is the perfect time to set the energetic tone for your entire day. Before you check your bank balance or think about bills or worry about money, you can take a few moments to connect with the feeling of abundance. This might be as simple as lying in bed for an extra minute and appreciating all the things in your life that money can't buy. Your breath, your heartbeat, the love you feel for the people in your life, the beauty you can see outside your window. You can start your day by thinking about money with gratitude rather than anxiety. Instead of immediately worrying about what you need to pay or what you can't afford, you can appreciate the money that's already flowing through your life. You can be grateful for the money that pays your rent, buys your food, provides your transportation. You can appreciate the money that allows you to have running water, electricity, and all the conveniences that make your life easier and more comfortable. This morning practice doesn't require you to pretend you have more money than you do or to ignore practical financial concerns. It simply asks you to start your day from a place of appreciation rather than worry, from abundance consciousness rather than scarcity thinking. This shift in starting energy influences everything that happens throughout your day, opening you to possibilities and opportunities that you might miss when you begin from a place of fear or lack. Throughout your day, you can practice treating money as a friend rather than an enemy. When you pay bills, you can feel grateful for the services you're receiving rather than resentful about the money leaving your account. When you buy groceries, you can appreciate the abundance of choices available to you rather than focusing on what you can't afford. When you see beautiful things in stores, you can enjoy the beauty without immediately thinking about price tags or limitations. These small shifts in perception create a cumulative effect that transforms your relationship with money over time. Instead of spending your day in resistance to the flow of money, you begin to participate joyfully in the dance of giving and receiving that makes abundance possible. Instead of treating every financial transaction as a loss, you begin to see money as energy that circulates through your life, bringing gifts and opportunities. Evening is another powerful time to consciously connect with abundance energy. Before you go to sleep, you can review your day and notice all the ways abundance showed up, even in small forms. Maybe someone paid for your coffee, or you found a great parking space, or you received an unexpected compliment. Maybe you solved a problem at work, or helped someone in need, or enjoyed a beautiful sunset. These experiences of abundance in non-monetary forms help you recognize that the universe is always providing for you in countless ways. You can also use evening time to plant seeds for future abundance by spending a few minutes visualizing your financial dreams with love and excitement rather than desperate wanting. This isn't about forcing outcomes or demanding that the universe give you what you want. It's about aligning your energy with what you desire, about becoming familiar with the feeling of abundance so that you'll recognize it when it shows up in your life. Gratitude is perhaps the most powerful practice for opening the flow of abundance. When you can feel genuinely grateful for what you already have, you're telling the universe that you're a good steward of abundance and ready to receive more. When you appreciate the money that's already in your life, you create magnetic energy that attracts more money. When you're grateful for the non-monetary forms of abundance that surround you daily, you develop the consciousness that allows you to recognize and receive abundance in all its forms. This gratitude practice works best when it's specific and heartfelt rather than general or forced. Instead of just thinking, "I'm grateful for money," you can appreciate the specific ways money has supported your life today. Instead of generic thankfulness, you can feel genuine appreciation for the hot shower you took this morning, the delicious meal you enjoyed, the comfortable bed you'll sleep in tonight, all of which are forms of abundance that money helped provide. The key to all these practices is gentleness and patience with yourself. You're rewiring patterns that may have been in place for decades, and this transformation happens gradually through loving persistence rather than through force or pressure. Some days you'll feel naturally abundant and grateful, and other days you'll notice the old patterns of worry and scarcity trying to take over. Both experiences are normal and part of the healing process. What matters most is your intention to grow and your willingness to keep practicing even when the practices feel awkward or unfamiliar at first. Every time you choose appreciation over worry, every time you treat money as a friend rather than an enemy, every time you align with abundance rather than scarcity, you're creating the foundation for a completely new financial reality. These small, consistent practices are how lasting transformation happens, not through dramatic gestures or overnight changes, but through gentle, loving attention to the energy you bring to money every single day. The beautiful dance between spiritual practice and practical action is where true abundance is born. So many people get stuck thinking that if they just think positive thoughts about money, the universe will magically deliver wealth to their doorstep without any effort on their part. Others believe that only hard work and struggle can create financial success, dismissing the power of consciousness and energy. The truth lies in the graceful balance between both, between aligning your inner world with abundance and taking inspired action in the physical world. Inspired action feels completely different from action that comes from fear or desperation. When you're operating from fear, you tend to force things, to push against closed doors, to exhaust yourself chasing opportunities that aren't meant for you. When you're taking inspired action, you feel energized rather than drained. The steps you take feel natural and flowing, like you're moving with the current of a river rather than swimming upstream against it. Learning to recognize inspired action requires developing trust in your intuitive guidance system. Your body and your emotions are constantly giving you information about which actions will lead to abundance and which will lead you away from it. When you think about a particular financial opportunity, notice how your body responds. Does it feel expansive and exciting, or does it feel tight and stressful? Does the idea energize you or deplete you? These physical and emotional responses are your inner guidance system helping you navigate toward the actions that will truly serve your prosperity. Sometimes inspired action feels big and dramatic, like suddenly knowing you need to start a new business or make a major career change. But more often, inspired action feels small and simple. It might be the impulse to have a conversation with a neighbor who mentions a job opportunity, or the urge to take a class that leads to unexpected connections, or the feeling that you should organize your financial paperwork, which helps you discover money you forgot you had. The key is learning to trust these gentle nudges even when you can't see how they'll lead to abundance. Your rational mind wants to understand the entire path before taking the first step, but abundance often reveals itself one step at a time. When you can take that first inspired step without needing to know where it will ultimately lead, you open yourself to possibilities that your logical mind could never have planned or predicted. This trust in inspired action also means learning to say no to opportunities that don't feel aligned, even when they seem like they should be good for you financially. Sometimes the universe presents you with choices that test whether you're willing to stay true to your inner guidance or whether you'll abandon your intuition for the promise of quick money. The opportunities that require you to compromise your values or ignore your inner wisdom rarely lead to lasting abundance, even if they provide temporary financial relief. Taking inspired action also means being willing to invest in yourself and your dreams, even when the outcome isn't guaranteed. This might mean spending money on education that develops your skills, or investing in tools that help you serve others better, or taking calculated risks that feel exciting rather than terrifying. The energy of investment is completely different from the energy of spending. When you invest in your growth and your dreams, you're telling the universe that you believe in your own potential for abundance. The patience required for this process can be one of the most challenging aspects of manifesting money. In a world that celebrates instant gratification, the gentle unfolding of true abundance can feel frustratingly slow. But the universe operates on perfect timing, orchestrating circumstances and connections in ways that serve your highest good. When you can trust this timing, when you can take consistent, inspired action without attachment to immediate results, you align yourself with the natural rhythm of manifestation. This patience doesn't mean being passive or waiting for abundance to find you. It means staying actively engaged with your dreams while releasing the need to control exactly how and when they manifest. It means taking the next right step without needing to see the entire staircase. It means showing up consistently for your financial goals while remaining open to the possibility that the universe might deliver your abundance in ways you never expected. Trust in the manifestation process also requires developing faith in your own worthiness to receive abundance. Sometimes the delays in manifestation aren't about timing or circumstances. They're about giving you the opportunity to deepen your sense of deserving, to strengthen your ability to receive, to prepare yourself to handle abundance responsibly and joyfully. Every step of the journey is serving your ultimate good, even when it doesn't feel that way in the moment. Even with the most positive mindset and the most aligned actions, You will encounter challenges and setbacks on your abundance journey. This isn't a sign that you're doing something wrong or that abundance isn't meant for you. It's a natural part of any growth process. How you navigate these challenges determines whether they become stepping stones to greater prosperity or obstacles that keep you stuck in old patterns. When financial setbacks occur, your first instinct might be to panic, to abandon your new practices, to revert to old patterns of fear and scarcity thinking. This is the time when your spiritual practice becomes most important. This is when you get to demonstrate to yourself and to the universe that your commitment to abundance consciousness isn't dependent on external circumstances. This is when you discover the difference between positive thinking that's only surface deep and genuine faith that runs to your core. Staying centered during financial transitions means remembering that money is energy and energy is always in motion. Nothing in your financial life is permanent, not the abundance and not the lack. When you're experiencing a temporary decrease in money, you can remind yourself that this is just one wave in the ocean of your financial life. When you can stay calm and trusting during challenging times, you position yourself to recognize and receive the opportunities that are often hidden within difficulties. These challenging times are actually gifts in disguise, opportunities for you to discover strength and wisdom you didn't know you possessed. Every financial challenge you navigate successfully increases your confidence in your ability to create abundance. Every setback you handle with grace and faith deepens your trust in the universe's timing and wisdom. Every difficulty you transform into an opportunity strengthens your manifestation muscles for the bigger abundance that's trying to reach you. Using challenges as opportunities for growth means looking for the lessons and gifts hidden within difficult circumstances. Maybe a job loss is actually the universe's way of redirecting you toward work that's more aligned with your purpose. Maybe an unexpected expense is teaching you to trust in your ability to find creative solutions. Maybe a period of financial tightness is helping you clarify what truly matters to you and what you can easily live without. The key is to stay curious rather than victimized when challenges arise. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you can ask, "What is this here to teach me?" Or, "How might this situation be serving my highest good?" This shift in perspective doesn't mean pretending that difficulties are fun or that you should be grateful for financial stress. It means recognizing that every experience, even challenging ones, contains wisdom that can support your long-term prosperity. Maintaining abundance consciousness during difficult times also means continuing your spiritual practices even when they feel harder to access. This is when morning gratitude practices become most important, when connecting with the feeling of abundance matters most, when treating money as a friend rather than an enemy requires real courage. These practices aren't just for the easy times. They're specifically designed to support you through the challenges that test your faith and determination. During difficult financial periods, it's also important to remember that abundance comes in many forms, not just money. When your bank account is lower than you'd like, you can still notice the abundance of love in your life, the abundance of beauty in nature, the abundance of opportunities to grow and learn. This isn't about settling for less than you want financially. It's about maintaining the consciousness of abundance that will allow money to flow more freely once the current challenge has passed. Living in the flow of prosperity means developing daily habits that maintain your connection to abundance consciousness even after you've achieved your initial financial goals. True prosperity isn't a destination you reach and then forget about. It's a way of being that you cultivate and nurture throughout your entire life. The practices that help you create abundance are the same practices that help you maintain and expand it. The daily habits that support lasting prosperity are often simple and enjoyable rather than complicated or demanding. They might include starting each morning with appreciation for the abundance that's already present in your life, or ending each day by acknowledging the ways money flowed through your experience, or taking regular moments throughout the day to send loving energy to your finances. One of the most important habits for maintaining prosperity consciousness is the practice of gratitude for money itself. This means appreciating the bills in your wallet, feeling thankful for the money in your bank account regardless of the amount, and sending loving energy to money as it flows into and out of your life. When you can maintain a loving relationship with money regardless of how much you have, you create the kind of consistent energy that sustains long-term abundance. Another crucial habit is the practice of generous circulation. When you keep abundance flowing by sharing your money, time, skills, and love freely, you demonstrate your trust that there's always more where that came from. This doesn't mean giving beyond your means or ignoring your own needs. It means finding joyful ways to participate in the natural circulation of abundance that keeps prosperity alive and growing. Living in prosperity flow also means staying grateful while continuing to expand your dreams and goals. There's no ceiling on abundance, no point at which you should stop growing or stop desiring more beautiful experiences. The key is holding your current gratitude and your future dreams in balance, appreciating what you have while remaining open to what's possible. This ongoing growth in prosperity consciousness often includes sharing your abundance wisdom with others who are beginning their own journey. When you can support others in healing their relationship with money, when you can model what it looks like to live from abundance rather than scarcity, you strengthen your own prosperity practices while contributing to the collective healing around money that our world so desperately needs. The joy of financial freedom isn't just about having money. It's about the peace of mind that comes from knowing you can handle whatever life presents. It's about the freedom to make choices based on what feels right, rather than what you can afford. It's about the generosity that becomes possible when you're not operating from a place of lack and fear. True financial freedom is emotional and spiritual as much as it is practical. As you continue to live in this flow of prosperity, you'll discover that your relationship with money becomes a source of joy rather than stress. You'll find yourself appreciating the simple abundance that surrounds you daily, while also enjoying the expanded possibilities that financial success brings. You'll experience the deep satisfaction that comes from aligning your spiritual values with your practical financial life. Your new beginning starts right now, in this very moment, with the choices you make about how to think and feel about money going forward. You don't have to wait until tomorrow or next week or next month to begin living from abundance consciousness. You don't need to have more money in your bank account before you can start treating money as a friend. You don't need to achieve any particular financial goal before you can begin appreciating the abundance that's already present in your life. The most powerful thing you can do right now is to take one small, loving step toward a healthier relationship with money. This might be as simple as paying your next bill with gratitude instead of resentment, or looking at your bank balance with appreciation instead of anxiety, or spending a few minutes thinking about your financial dreams with excitement instead of worry. These small shifts in energy create ripples that eventually become waves of transformation. Your worthiness for abundance isn't something you need to earn or prove. It's something you need to remember and reclaim. You were born worthy of love, joy, peace, and yes, financial prosperity. The universe wants to support your dreams and desires. The only thing that has ever blocked your abundance is the learned belief that you don't deserve it, or that it's not available to you. Every person who has successfully transformed their financial reality started exactly where you are right now, with a mixture of hope and doubt, dreams and fears, desire and uncertainty. What made the difference for them wasn't some special talent or advantage. It was their willingness to begin, to take that first loving step toward a new relationship with money, to trust that change was possible even when they couldn't see how it would happen. The path ahead of you is illuminated one step at a time, not by some distant spotlight, but by the loving attention you bring to each moment, each choice, each opportunity to align with abundance rather than scarcity. You have everything you need within you right now to begin this transformation. You have the power to change your thoughts, the ability to shift your energy, and the capacity to take inspired action toward your dreams. Beautiful soul, as we come to the close of our time together, I want you to carry with you the absolute knowing that your financial transformation isn't just possible, it's inevitable when you align your mind, heart, and actions with the truth of abundance. You are so much more powerful than you've been taught to believe. You are so much more deserving than your old stories suggested. You are so much more capable of creating prosperity than your fears have allowed you to imagine. The universe is waiting to support your dreams, to surprise you with opportunities, to flow abundance into your life in ways that will fill you with wonder and gratitude. All it requires is your willingness to open your heart, to trust the process, and to take loving action from that place of trust. Your abundance journey begins now, with love, with hope, and with the absolute certainty that you are worthy of every beautiful thing you desire. Trust yourself, trust the process, trust that abundance is your birthright, and step forward with confidence into the prosperous life that is waiting for you to claim it.